Hey guys, this is Mel, and I am back to talk about Motherland Fort Salem, episode 209, titled Motherval, Mother of None, which premiered Tuesday, August 17, 2021 on Freeform. I'm recording the day after, so it's still less than 24 hours for me, but I wasn't able to record last night. So I want to talk about it now. So huge spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. My other video reminders are up on the screen, so take a moment to remind yourselves of those. A lot happened in this episode. Like, it was really emotionally charged as well, and it's just like, oh my. But let's start talking about it. So what happened in this episode? So timeline wise, I believe it's shortly after the events of 208, but it's definitely when all the other cadets at War College are coming back from break. Again, I don't know how long it's been, like, for them. Like, is break a week for them? I don't know. But we see everyone coming back onto campus for that. So there's that. The huge episode reminder is the fact that it's focusing on Nikta Batan's execution. And yeah, so pretty much that's the huge thing. But the storyline breakdowns or episode breakdowns, I focus, really, there's only one that's really like the very focused one of the episode, but I'll put in a second one because there's a bunch of tinier ones without the episode, but this one I'd say is important because it involved in the bigger scheme of things. So the first one is the truth about Nikta Patan, and the second one is the mycelium origins, or origins of the mycelium, however you want to say it. But let's start with the first storyline. So the first storyline deals with first Nikta's interrogation. She really only wants to talk to Tally, and when Tally is brought in, we find out that the spree objective was to always kill one human for every witch killed in combat. Apparently everyone is startled by the numbers. If that were true, I'm still waiting for them to actually fact check what Nikta was saying. We also have Adler's involvement in Liberia, in what started pretty much the separation between her and Nikta. And that is said before everyone, including President Wade and Vice President Silver, to the point where President Wade is forcing General Alder to resign from her position, which also means that the Biddy program will be terminated with her resignation, and pretty much not telling everybody, though, why she's stepping down. And making everybody believe that capturing the creator and leader of the spree is why Alter is leaving on a high note, essentially, which leads to Nikta's execution. With this, though, we have Tally invoking the right of proxy, which means that Alder would have to pretty much execute Tally instead of Nikta, because Tally invoked the right because she believed in Nikta's innocence. And this proved a whole display of things that really led to the truth being revealed about what happened in Liberia, and the creation of the spree, and all that. So it's just like a whole bunch was revealed in that. But I don't do it justice. Go watch the episode. It's just like, it's a huge emotional moment. I will say this though, when that moment was revealed, I'm pretty sure there was no dry eye in the room, kind of a situation. Like it was very emotional the way things were brought up, kind of a thing. But moving on to the second storyline, this was dealing with the mycelium, because we have Rael. First off, this is also the episode where Abigail actually sees the wall that holds the mycelium for the first time, and when Rael is drawn to it again by herself, she gets pulled in and gets to speak with her mom, Willa, and she finds out the true origins of the mycelium's power, and it came from long ago. I'm assuming it had to be 300 years ago, like really when the start of Adler's first unit, and it was a mass slaughter of a bunch of witches being burned at the stake. Sorry, and Adler came back and saw her whole unit being burned, and with her grief of song, it's what I think awoken, or it's what created the mycelium. It made it seem like it was like a beating power underneath. And we find out that actually Fort Salem was built on top of the execution site, so that for Adler, anytime she would never forget her first unit and those she's fighting for, and all the losses she's had endured over the last 300 years, because she was always stationed at Fort Salem. So that was a really powerful moment. The mycelium is really a accumulation of all the dead witches. This is why Raelle was able to speak with her dead mother now. So there's that. I did wonder if whether or not, if since the mycelium was born out of Sarah Alder's grief, does that mean they have loyalty to her, or is it just dead witches in total? Like, she created an afterlife for them in a sense through this power, which they have allowed for Raelle to tap into. And they think that Raelle being the conduit for their power is what will stop the Great War against the enemy that is the Camarilla, for once and for all kind of thing. At least that's my understanding of it. So there's that. The last moments of the episode show Gregorio rushing in to find Tally because they need to rush in to find Raelle because they need a fixer. But once everybody goes outside and realize who needs a fixer, they find out that witch is actually infected with the witch plague. And it's spreading, and Raelle tells everybody to run because you can't heal. But we understand why, like, she can't heal it because of the experiments that the Camarilla were doing on her. But, like, wasn't Kalita exposed to the witch plague before, and didn't Raelle get rid of it from her? So I'm wondering, or was that just a different version of the witch plague? I don't know. But there's that. But let's move on to characters very quickly, because like I said, there's a lot of tiny things that were revealed in this episode. So with Petra, we find out that without Alder's resignation, Petra is going to be promoted to be her replacement. She also gets the missing piece of Charvel back from Abigail, which she omitted from her original report about how she ended up at the Camarilla base. So that's something there. With Anacostia, we find out that she got promoted to captain. She's part of the intelligence unit there. With Sarah Alder, we find out that she was part of 81 wars in her 300 years of military service. She also said, I think if I understand, she appointed 28 heads of intelligence. Both numbers far more greater than what Petra estimated them to be. For Raelle, we find out that she was taken off of active duty to be put on a recruitment campaign, which she refuses to do. And then with Penelope, we see her again, and she has met her two new unit members, as all three of them are ready to start their basic training. Which I don't know. I don't know when the start of the basic training would be. If it's like regular schooling or something, I don't know. And then with Abigail, we found out that she pleads for Petra to move her out of War College and go straight into the front lines to fight against the Camarilla. But after some pitching from Abigail, she finally gets approval from her mother to do so, and her mother shows support by asking what she needs in order to fight the Camarilla. So there's that. Let's move on to tidbits very quickly. We have Vice President Silver telling his daughter Penelope that he's proud and that he loves her as he says goodbye before leaving from the Fort Salem base. Though he looks very emotional when he does it, as if like he suspects something, like he could lose her, or like he suspects something, which I don't know. We'll talk about that later. We also have Anacostia reuniting with Sterling, who is part of Vice President Silver's protective detail. Though Anacostia and Sterling seem to have a romantic history together. They have some kind of history, and the way they were kind of flirting with each other, it has me suggesting that maybe they were something more already in the past, or maybe they were always like floating on that line between or something. I don't know. But there's that. We have Adil reuniting with his sister Kalita, but she finds out that he killed someone, which is breaking their vow of peace for the people. And this pretty much sets a divide between them, and she takes back the blood vial that Adil uses for the blood compass to find each other. She pretty much takes it as if saying like she never wants her brother to find her, kind of a thing. So like bit of a strain between the two siblings there. We also have Scylla back at the secession, and she is with Quinn, with her help, find a new Dodger family for young Tiffany to live with. And then we also have Scylla sharing a new working called Morgan's Whisper to Quinn that could potentially help them fight the Camarilla. Apparently she used a crow to help do this, and in her demonstration, she had the humans start to randomly dance in a very traditional manner, and in formation as well too. So don't know how they're going to use that to fight the Camarilla, but that's something there. But let's move on to most shocking moment of the episode. I think I have to say it's first off, the rite of proxy would have definitely been a shock if I was not able to actually pause. I actually paused right when they showed this huge page of a whole bunch of text in the book, in the history textbook. I paused it to read what exactly was underneath the rite of proxy to understand it. So I feel like once I read that, I kind of knew where Tally's head was going when it came to that type of loophole. But I think the part of it that really overall shocked me was that that text didn't mention that that there would be a fight between the one who evoked it and the one who has to go through with it. So I wasn't expecting when Alder and Tally had a fight against each other. I thought it was just more of like procedures were had to be invoked and put into place due to the rite of proxy. So I guess that fight was unexpected for me. So there's that. But speaking of the rite of proxy, let's go into top 3 favorite moments. The rite of proxy, that whole scene where Tally interrupted and invoked it on behalf of Nick de Batan, and then to have Rael do it for Tally, and then Abigail doing it for Rael, and then Gregorio for Abigail, then M for Gregorio, and etc. Their whole unit, their whole coven, doing it to protect each other. It was such a powerful scene because first off, you have Tally doing it, and we expected that Tally would do it once. Like I said, I suspected because I paused so I could read that passage, and that power in her voice, and both in Alder too, because she did not want to harm Tally, but Tally would not back down, and to see that emotion was just truly powerful. And then for Rael to step in and do the exact same thing, and then just the emotion kept building and building and building, to see the whole unit have each other's backs. And then to also have that emotion when they were exposing the truth to every one of those soldiers there about what really happened between Nick de Batan and General Alder was just so moving and amazing. And it almost brought me to tears. I was like on the verge of doing it because it was just so powerful. And it's just like blown me away for sure. So it was definitely one of my favorites for just the power behind it. And another favorite I did have was when Rael, it happens to be both my favorites, were like really powerful scenes, was when Rael learned the origin story of the mycelium's power creation. Learning that it's created from dead witches, to learn that it started from a grief song that Sarah Alder made when she found her whole unit, or coven even, burned at the stake. And just also visually, it was very stunning as well too when they transitioned between the seasons and like the ages and stuff. But just you really felt the grief in that moment, and to have Rael come to realize that, it definitely has me questioning, like, what does that mean for the mycelium, the loyalty, what's Rael going to do with it, kind of a thing. But to learn that origin is just like, it was very devastating to know that all that would also kind of make sense why the power wouldn't harm other witches too, because they are the dead witches, right? So it would make sense, but it was just a very powerful moment to learn about this unknown power. So there's that. So moving on, top 3 peeved moments. It's not really a peeve, but I guess more of a disappointment, because I thought after learning the origin story of the mycelium and its connection to Alder, I thought that would somehow come back into play during the whole execution scene, or it would be brought up some way as a reminder to Alder, or like just to reveal that the witch bomb power is pretty much fueled by dead witches or something. So I don't know. I was waiting for it to come into connection with the execution storyline instead of it just being like a separate side thing a little bit. But it was a very small disappointment for it. It was just something where it's like I was waiting and waiting, and then it didn't happen. It's like, oh, okay. So maybe it'll come later. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see about that. But let's move on to random questions very quickly. The first one. With the way that the Vice President Silver was reacting to Penelope when he's saying goodbye, do you think he was a part of the witch plague infiltrating Fort Salem? I don't know if I mentioned it in my previous videos, but I always suspected that he could be connected to the Camarilla based on his initial reaction to Penelope being a witch and his, I believe, his dismissal of the Camarilla, or like, I don't know, it's just he wasn't emotional in the sense like he was sending off his daughter to college or anything. His goodbye seemed like he feared, like, I don't know if it's any different for like if a parent is sending their child off to military school in like the normal sense, but if they'd get just as emotional as he was getting. But this goodbye felt like he knew something bad was going to happen, and he didn't know whether or not his daughter was going to survive it or not. So it's like, I don't know. Plus, also, I was kind of worried because for Penelope, I think she was getting mic'd before her dad came in to give that goodbye. The guy putting it on her, he said a line, but we never see his face. So part of me was already on edge thinking that something bad is going to happen, because otherwise, why would you have this no-named character and with no face either? Why would you have him say a line? Like, you'd only say, it had to be something important, or there had to be a reason to it. So that's why I'm suspecting that the two of them are part of whatever this attack that infiltrated the base. But I'm wondering if anyone else thought that too, or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Another question. Due to the rules of the right of proxy, is Nicta exonerated, or does she get a new punishment or something? I don't know. Which also leads to my next question of, will Sarah Alder get a punishment for her part to play in that? And if there is a season 3, will she be a part of it? I don't know, especially if like she's stepping down as general. But yeah. There's that. Next question. Will we see more of Anacostia and Silver? Sorry, excuse me. Oh, that one hurt. I had a cough. Yeah, will we see more of Anacostia and Silver? I think there's something brewing. I just really hope he's not going to betray her in any way, or he's not like a double agent of some sort. It'd be really great to see something going on there. And then another question, I guess, would be, were the spree... When it came to the stats of how the spree kills 1 human for every witch killed in combat, were those humans in any way connected to the Camarilla, and that's why they target those humans specifically? Or were the spree just targeting regular humans that weren't connected to the war effort at all? I'm wondering what they know. I just want to know numbers. How many people have the spree killed? How many witches have died in combat? And does it track? Are their numbers matching what Nicta claims? Like, that's what I want to know. So there's that. But let's move on to predictions very quickly. Based off the promo for 210, it's also the season finale. Because of the fact that both the press release and the promo itself claims it's a season finale, it leaves me hopeful that there's a season 3. But I haven't seen any word about that yet. But based off the promo, we see the witch plague spreading over Fort Salem. They also give the impression that Tally can sense it with her special sight. We have Scylla being among a crowd, possibly other Dodgers. We have Albin Hurst, the lead spree guy, the lead Camarilla guy that was experimenting on Rael. We have him appearing at Fort Salem. We see some weather work going on. We see some crows appearing. We see Adele kissing Abigail. We see the mycelium wall with 4 people standing in front of it. We see the army and the spree working together against the Camarilla. We have Nicta and Alder both taking part in that fight. We have Alder telling Anacostia that we fight until our very last breath, but then it cuts to Anacostia crying over a body, which has me thinking that Alder might be the one that may possibly die, in order to invoke that kind of a reaction to Anacostia. And then we also see Rael just screaming in anguish at the very end. A lot of things happening in this finale. And the thing is, though, that the title of the episode, I believe, is called Revolution Part 1. So it has me wondering if there is a season 3, if the premiere is going to be Revolution Part 2 or not. We'll have to wait and see. But the synopsis, though, for the episode reads, in the season finale, the Camarilla brings the fight to Fort Salem. Rael, Abigail, Tally, and their allies are forced to make impossible, world-changing choices. I'm excited yet very nervous. It definitely seems like the huge, like, this is the big fight we've all been waiting for this season. So yeah, I can't wait to see how that's going to be. I'm so excited. I really hope there's a season 3, but we'll have to wait and see news about that. But what did you guys think of this episode? What did you guys like about it? What do you think will happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your thoughts, theories, and opinions about all that good stuff. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check my Tumblr page, link for that down below. I revlog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all the good stuff, all fun in one place. Go check that out. I haven't done it for Fort Salem yet, or Motherland Fort Salem yet, but any other show I've talked about on my YouTube channel, chances are I have them on Tumblr already. But yeah, also WordPress, link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. It's a little more organized, a little more detailed, but still a work in progress as well. So that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next week to see what I have to say about the season finale. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.